All right, everybody, welcome to Husker Harvest Days. I'm currently trying to wait up with Old Farm for Profit, but I ran across a relatively familiar face in the ag industry. This is Rachel with Iowa Farm Mama. So you're going to be opening up the COUNTYLINE Chronicles with me. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Now, what I do with the COUNTYLINE Chronicles is I like to introduce people to a lot of other fantastic individuals and kind of learn some of their stories. I had 2 questions. I didn't have a cheat sheet because by the time I got done with the Farm Progress, it was disintegrated. But I got 2 questions for you, Rachel, and that would be, first of all, what kind of got you started with the Iowa Farm Mama? Like, what was the influence behind that? Who got it started mainly?
So I got it started because I was working in the marketing field and I was trying to figure out TikTok for my professional side and started using it personally, showing my brother and I farming our family ground in southeast Iowa.
Very, very nice. Now, to follow that up, the important thing about a lot of us is that we all get out and really just like to be around people, but what is the opportunities of doing this really brought to you? What is the biggest thing you've taken away from being on the social media platform and growing the people that you have with this community?
So I have met people that I would never have met in real life. It's a completely different family, community, and feeling on social media than just walking around a farm show.
I can definitely vouch for that. It has been awesome to be able to travel and be a part of these community events. Even though I'm more of a digital gamer field when it comes to any of this, I'm starting to niche my way into the real market where I can go to a show like this and connect with all these real life farmer individuals. I'd love to offer a helping hand sometimes, and I like to just learn. I love to get out in the field and just do it. It's so much fun to just learn a new skill. You can never have too much knowledge up in your head.
And even though we farm in relatively close areas, you're in Nebraska, I'm in Iowa, we see things on TikTok, social media that we wouldn't see. I mean, we're so used to corn, soybeans, cattle, hogs that social media presence takes us to someone's farm that we wouldn't get to see normally.
It's always a growing industry, isn't it?
It is.
It always is changing. Well, Rachel, I really appreciate you coming on COUNTYLINE Chronicles.
Thank you.
I hope you have a great rest of your show. Sadly, guys, I'm only here on Wednesday because I got a lot of other stuff I got to take care of off camera, but we'll keep on rolling with the show, meet a couple other great individuals, and we'll keep the podcast rolling. Making our way not too far, like about 10 feet from the poster I just interviewed Rachel on, we got Tanner, the head honcho of Farm for Profit. Now, I interviewed your other 2 guys.
Absolutely.
Little Dave and Corey. But
the brains and the brawn.
Yes, absolutely. But I got 2 questions for you at Husker Harvest Days, and that is, being that you are the creator of Farm for Profit, what was kind of the inspiration behind this to get it off the ground and really make it what it has been today?
Yeah, I wanted to differentiate myself. I didn't want to be like every other person in the agricultural lending sphere that just looked like a stuffy old banker. I wanted to know everybody that knew everything. So connect myself with the experts, which made me more valuable than the next person. Because if you needed an answer about something, I didn't have to know it, but I needed to know who to tell you about. So it started as a conference. Got to make a lot of friends, got to meet a lot of experts, and then it was so much easier to just take the expert off the stage and ask them the questions on a podcast than it was to host a conference and order food and get a venue and buy insurance.
I like that.
And do all the other crap.
Now, I remember one thing. I'll get that second question in just a split second. There was one specific little short that I watched from you guys that it was, there's lots of ways to make money in the ag field itself. You just kind of have to. Would you consider what you guys do as part of that little genre where it's not necessarily making big bucks, but it's at least a different field in the ag industry?
That's correct. I mean, it's fascinating that not only does it make you money through ad sales and through partners to the podcast, but when you can implement some of the strategies that we've learned, when you can take some of that advice from the experts that we interview, and you take that right back to your farm and you make a greater yield, you have higher bushels, you have cattle that gain weight faster. So not only can, yes, we sell ads and have a good part-time gig for everybody involved, and you can make it worth our time to be out here at Husker Harvest Days, that's a bonus, right? Because our farms are all still running. But we can take the advice that we learn and give out on the podcast and implement it in our own farms and businesses and make more money that way too.
That is awesome. Carrying into that last one, it really has to be, what is the opportunities that this has given you? What's the best thing that
Yeah.
really Farm for Profit has brought to the table?
It's a
for you and
full-blown
yourself?
media company. I mean, it started off as a conference, went into a podcast, and it's legitimately a full-blown media company that will do anything from website creation to make a podcast ad to make video that you can use at your own company's award ceremony to putting together custom requests throughout the entire ag industry. And the fun part about it is I've got a team of 8. I've got a team of 10 if you count some of the subcontractors that we work with. But you get to meet some of these people with a unique skill that have taught themselves or been professionally trained. So the opportunity going forward is you take all of these partnerships that you bring together and you just keep propelling agriculture forward. Because you know that there are marketing companies that are focused on shoes and clothing, and you know that there's marketing companies and media companies that do automotive and all these badass things that you see. Agriculture needs that. I think there should be a college football bowl game that is farmer influencer sponsored.
It's surprising is that with Iowa always having the American Needs Farmers, they don't have something with that. Like
No.
they don't host something like
Exactly. There's no reason that agriculture shouldn't be doing other things that mainstream media has done to blow up and build awareness. And if that's the ultimate goal for a lot of these companies, is just for you to know what my brand is and to know that farmers are real people, we can do that. There's nobody doing this. You blaze the trail, you bring some cool people along with you.
That sounds like a fantastic way to describe it, and I'll sum it up. Tanner, thank you, buddy, for being on. I appreciate that. Continuing on with the County Line Chronicles, we're going to find our next guest and keep the ball rolling. Traveling on our way over to the AgSwag booth, we now have the other personnel face of AgSwag. This is Todd. So Todd, welcome to the County Line Chronicles. I got 2 basic questions for you. Well, I guess 3. First of all, how you doing today? Is it hot?
It's a little bit hot, but the wind out here is nice, and there's no humidity in Nebraska. We love it, at least on this side of the state.
That's definitely a positive. Me and humidity do not go well hand in hand. Now, starting off with that first general question, I already talked to Jordan last time at Farm Progress, but what kind of got you affiliated with Jordan to really start taking this thing off the ground and make it what it is now with AgSwag at all these different booths?
Absolutely. That answer is simple. His father, Kevin. So Kevin and I go back to college days. Kevin writes the Van Trump reports. We do the FarmCon, which maybe we'll talk about in a second. But then as Jordan got out of college, we had to come up with an idea to grow our business without upsetting a lot of our clients. AgSwag was it. I did some of that as a golf pro in the pro shop. Did a lot of the same stuff we're doing. And but Jordan, all the credit goes to Jordan. He has worked his tail off, and now he's building out employees, and he's realizing how much fun that is.
All right. Well, segueing our way into that second question, with the opportunities that you and Jordan have been presented now, being as a big of a business as you are, what's your biggest takeaway from that, or what have you really gotten from this experience with AgSwag itself?
It's all the simple stuff that Kevin passed on, and just be consistent and do stuff, and take the no's as you're coming up. But be fast, move fast, make changes, do things that don't work. That's the only way you grow. Don't be afraid to fail. And Jordan is not, thanks to his dad. And I think now he's got the niche where we just need more people, and this baby's taking off.
That is awesome. Well, I heard you say something about FarmCon.
FarmCon. So FarmCon, Kevin Van Trump's conference called FarmCon, 3-day deal down in Kansas City in January. It's just, Kevin writes a daily news report called the Van Trump Report, very business-minded with the corn, bean, and wheat stuff in it, macro, and he shares his insights on his equities and all these different things. Anyway, our clientele are these guys that don't just farm, they have businesses, and FarmCon is kind of his report on steroids. We bring together in one room the most creative minds in agriculture, and have 3 days of trying to get people to peek around the corner, share with us what's going on, and hopefully there's a lot of deal making going on between guys that are there, and that's why a lot of folks show up.
Very nice. I have heard of FarmCon, and it's something that has interested me, but I don't necessarily know if I have enough of a way to be able to go down and see this, because I think it's an invite-only thing, isn't it?
Well, you're there, man. I'm inviting you right now.
You're inviting me right now. Do I get to ride the AgSwag bandwagon?
AgSwag Express.
AgSwag Express.
Well, I could probably pick you up, on my way in from the Panhandle. So,
learn some new things.
We'll read this. We'll feed you the small print on what you got to do for us.
Okay,
but no,
I mean, I'm going to be working with you through merchandise anyway. I've already been talking with Jordan about that. So, thank you guys. We're going to be segueing into our next personal guest on the County Line Chronicles podcast. Todd, thank you for stopping by, bud.
Pleasure.
We'll figure it out at some point.
Thank you.
Let's keep it rolling.
All right.
So you want it closer, or you just pretty good right here?
It can be really wherever, but
Kim, we're trying to work over here.
Now, welcome guys to the Titan Tire booth. It's been kind of a pain to really find everybody around here. Now, I was going to chase you down at Farm Progress. Scott, how you been doing?
Good, real good. You know, Farm Progress was nuts. Literally one conversation after another. So it was you show up and then you leave and you feel like you're out of breath.
Now, would you say that was the busiest Farm Progress you've had, or was it kind of in the middle?
For us in the Titan Goodyear booth, we were steady all 3 days. Obviously, you know, we had Laura in there, we had Corn Stars in there. That always helps. We had the Big Bud in there. That, you know, everybody's a Big Bud fan, so that always helps. But you know, it was a lot of really good discussions. I think more interested customers as opposed to people just walking through. And I think the way the economy is and the way the market is, I think you get, if people are talking about it, they're probably more serious about it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, people know you on a social media platform as Scott the Tire Guy, but what got you with Goodyear Titan Tire to get right now where you're technically at?
Well, when I was in college, I wasn't going to be a tire guy. It's kind of a funny story because I actually went to the University of Northern Iowa, and I was going to be an industrial arts instructor, shop teacher. So that was way back in 1987.
Oh, so like 3 years ago.
Yeah, basically.
Okay,
And
got it.
actually, it was in '86, and obviously there was no teaching jobs at the time. There, I mean, it was very competitive in the vocational, technical stuff. And Firestone was actually hiring supervisors. So I just needed a job and, you know, steady paycheck. So I joined in at Firestone there in Des Moines, and after a couple years there, I actually got into the engineering department. So I was a process engineer there for a number of years, and then when Titan purchased the Pirelli Armstrong plant in Des Moines, Iowa, that's when I made my trip over to Titan, and that was in 1995.
Okay, and you've been with them ever since?
I've been with them ever since. I was engineering manager there and did a stint for 5 years as VP of engineering, so I got into more of the mold design stuff, kind of the cool stuff about it. So I went from the processing in the factory to the engineering side, and then I always say in about 2011, 2012, they made this real cool sales and marketing job called product manager. So now I'm the global Ag and LSW product manager.
What a way to hit it rich. At least in the old department of networking, it's amazing what these opportunities can provide for us. And that actually leads us into that second question, which is, now that you've really kind of been established with Titan, you're always out at these events and you're always really getting out there in public. What are the opportunities and the things that you've really taken away from this and gained from this?
Well, you know, I wasn't a farm kid. I mean, I grew up in the Des Moines area and wasn't a farm kid. And you know, the manufacturing side was what kind of brought me to the industry. I could have been making vending machines for all intents and purposes.
That sounds like a snacking idea.
But you know, it ended up being ag, and you know, once you get out, and when I was in the factory, you really didn't get out a lot. These tires rolled through in front of you, and you really didn't get to know what these actually went on. And then when I got into the more of the VP stuff and the more with the marketing group, then you started really interacting with growers and end users and OEs and these types of guys. And you know, it's I couldn't think of any better industry to actually be in.
That is awesome. But I guess you technically also get a third question, and that is, who did you technically land with first on the content to where you became Scott the Tire Guy? I mean, obviously you're known in your Titan Goodyear standpoint with all of your corporation on that, but with people like Cole and Cooper and Laura and all them, like, how'd you get affiliated with them?
Well, again, it was kind of we're looking for something different, and it just, I guess I've got over 30 years in this industry, so you know a lot of people that way, and from an industry standpoint, it's a relatively small world. So in my peers group, everybody knew me as Scott the Tire Guy, but when we were doing, and this has been years ago, we were going to do the Big Bud 747 conversion.
Yep.
And I was just looking up information on Big Bud because we were, getting some information on it, and ran across the Welkers online. So we were looking for something new and different for our shows and just our marketing strategy, and shot him an email, and Nick got back to me, and it's been history ever since. And then through them, hooked up with Cole. And
so
Cole's right there in
Welkers
Iowa.
were actually the first ones.
They were the
now, was
first
that
ones.
for B-Spine, or would that have been for big bruise?
That was Beastbine. It
was
actually
Beastbine.
Yep, it was actually Beastbine, and that video did very well. And we did a plant tour video, which was great. And then with Cole and Cooper and DC, they're great. And the funny part is they're exactly what they are online. So they're just trying to make a living, and they had a knack of being able to film themselves, and it worked out for them. And you get to know them, and they're more friends and family now than they are ambassadors for us.
And that's the best part. I mean, I still really have no face or any sort of reasons to be at one of these shows, but it's like I can walk in here and talk to you. I can talk to Kale, I can talk to Laura, I can talk to Cooper, I can talk to however many of these different people, and it's like you become a more connected community.
It was, and
awesome.
then we were at Farm Progress 2 years ago, and I'd reached out to we were trying to get something over here in Nebraska here in this area, and reached out to her, and she stopped by the booth there at Farm Progress, kind of got to know us, and we're a very low key company when it comes to this stuff, and I'd like to think we're pretty fun to hang out with, and do some cool stuff with their equipment, and they help us, and we try and help their brand, and it's worked out really well. Like last night we were out with Grant and Laura. We were at Donovan down there doing some trap shooting, so
nice.
That was fun.
Well, that sounds like a fun time.
It was.
Now, Scott, I don't want to hold you up. I know we're starting to get ready to head out, and I got to see if I can somehow find
Well, good luck
the
with
rest
that.
of these people. I highly doubt I'm
good
going to
luck.
do it. I'm only here for today.
You're going to have something more than that scooter to keep up with Kale on that golf cart.
No duh. Now, if this is the last interview, guys, I want to say thank you for watching. But if there is something else after this, then I'll try and do something else. Well, Scott, thank you, bud.
You bet.
Oh, we'll figure this out.
There we go. All right.
There we go.
All right.
We'll
Thanks,
have
sir.
let you have some fun, and next time it'll probably be next year. Same time
Absolutely.
next year?
Yeah, same time next
All
year.
right, see you in Decatur.
All right.
Now, as stated, I wasn't really able to find anybody. The hardest part about this show was that I'm only here for one day. If you guys are wondering why the flags are actually at half staff, the day I was here was September 11th, the 9/11 memorial. So I can't, doing quick math in my head, it was not my specialty. But thank you guys for tuning into this episode of the County Line Chronicles. I am, of course, your host, Chandler Buck, otherwise known as the Rental Man Buck. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe down below for more County Line Chronicles content. Other than that, we'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Hasta la vista.